I'm Parm Bains. I'm the Member of Parliament for Steveston, Richmond East. I'm a Liberal Member of Parliament. What got me into politics? At a younger age, I developed a sort of leadership role playing soccer, and from there were several issues that were sort of sparking up in the community around gang violence and youth violence. And from there, I was asked by some local educators to be involved in a youth forum. And I brought youth out to it, spoke there, and a provincial minister at the time asked me to work with the provincial government and liaise between community and the government. And at the time, actually, I was working as an aircraft mechanic, and I decided that I'm going to pass. I didn't really know too much about being in government or politics, and then the company I was working with, Air Canada, decided to shift from British Columbia to Winnipeg. Then I called the minister back. I said, is that role still available? I'm thinking of leaving this sort of profession in general, and I worked in provincial government soon after that, and developed a few more responsibilities there. And I was able to bring together on the issue of gang violence a divided community, which I thought was contributing to the problem, and brought them together for the first time. And from that meeting, I was able to see the current gang task force be formed from that meeting, and that sort of empowered me in a way to say, I think I can get things done with this role. And I spent 14 years BC government, and after that I was teaching communications at a university, and I was approached by a couple of members of parliament to seek office, and I felt I still had a lot of ideas that were important to my city that I grew up in, Richmond, British Columbia, that I could bring forward and be able to achieve things for the region and my community, and look at other priorities that are happening there. And I decided to come forward and take the opportunity and run for office. As a member of parliament, I would say within this last year, I've been working towards a lot of issues that I've been passionate about, like affordability and housing. And within the year that I've been elected, and now we've been able to secure over $200 million of investment in my community. Everything from like the fishing communities received tremendous investments, but most importantly, what I think a growing problem obviously across the country around affordability is the rapid housing initiative, and we'll be making that announcement soon, something I advocated for strongly. So I think the city I grew up in, one of the issues there was people were getting priced out and leaving the city. So people I grew up with started moving out, and it's been sort of growing for a few years now, and we're hoping to resolve that issue with especially young professionals who are going to school and graduating and still want to have roots in the community and that sort of thing. So that's a proud achievement for us. If you're connected to your community and you understand the needs there, and I honestly think it's the people that are doing so much work in the community who always have are helping government deliver programs, and being connected to them, asking them what the needs are, and ultimately meeting with them and trying to solve problems. I think the biggest skill set I have is having the ability to find strategies to get things done, and I think that motivates me to be able to resolve and solve issues. I think it's something that excites me. I had some experience being a public relations officer with the BC government, so understanding sort of how to navigate through the offices. But when you become a member of parliament and the responsibility of your community or being the voice of your community relies upon you, and then you get to parliament and you try to, put forward ideas and realize how big government really is and how many processes there are involved to get things done, and that's really where I think the effectiveness of maybe of an elected official versus the ineffectiveness, if you may, really comes to the surface, right? I think that that is a big thing about in terms of like what I learned once I was elected and getting into office and sort of seeing how long some of these things take and really understanding that. Working across party lines to achieve a goal, it happens almost every day. Like if we're involved in committee work, and I understand that people see on TV, on CPAC and question period, a lot of that is comes down to a lot of the focus of a specific mandate maybe a party has, and some of the issues that they're really trying to push forward. However, day to day, there is a lot of work that we all need to do for Canadians, and I think everybody's heart is in the right place. When you come to work, everyone's focus is really how can we deliver things for Canadians, and everyone has a different approach. Someone says my idea is better, and it happens at work, in every workplace. So I don't see anything that's different here. But we're in committee work. We do committee work together, so we're trying to resolve and solve, issues that can ultimately help Canadians. So that happens almost every day. I think the biggest challenge for democracy is misinformation, disinformation. When you look at all of the social media platforms, multimedia platforms, if you made there's all kinds of information that's out there, but nobody's policing it. And that is something that we as a government and members of parliament all sort of wrestle with, like how can we solve this problem where people have access to information and it's important, right? And we try to be transparent, and we're trying to find more and more ways to be transparent as governments to ensure people have the real information, whether it's through our web pages and access to information, policies, etc. Right? So the challenge is there's minute by minute, and even the let's say the professional media outlets, they're chasing information that may have been rumored to go out, and without getting access to the complete information, but then they're wrestling with the fact that we need to get it out first, and it's something's already out there. So there's a lot of issues around what's correct before the information really gets out. So you'll see stories come out, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, the research on it's done sort of after that it's already out. And then you'll see following stories, et cetera, to correct what's out there. So I think that's a huge challenge for democracy, because ultimately people are making decisions based on, information that they're getting by the minute, and not knowing the source. And I go back to even, it's a lesson that I taught in my classes at university, like, we have to find out what the source of this information is, even when you're doing your reports. And, things like Wikipedia and all of these platforms out there that people think are real information, even those are need to be sort of verified. What gives me hope for the next generation? I think our youth are extremely intelligent. And I say that when I left government, it's easy to be, in a bubble. And you're reading news releases that are being formed within your own government, and you're like, oh, this is great. And but once you sort of leave and you go into different environments, like a teaching environment, and I felt I learned a lot from the classes I was teaching, because I always told them communications is the most important course you'll ever take, because you need it in every aspect of your daily lives. Any workplace needs it, but communication, even the way we are communicating and the way messages are received, like I just talked about in my previous answer, that's even changing by the minute. People are using emojis to say something versus actually writing out a full sentence, and so there's a lot of different things, and I found that the youth specifically taught me that their ability to multitask was, it's almost a new phenomenon. You would see like older generations, they would master one thing, one job, right? Whereas you see the young generation now having the ability to do multiple different things, and I think that's a really remarkable thing about our youth today, and I think that they're going to be the true innovators of the future. The biggest piece of advice I would tell my 16-year-old self is to, ultimately try to enjoy everything you do, and, don't master one thing. Try to adapt to a lot of different scenarios, and have the ability to pivot if you need to pivot, and adapt to different things. Gain as many skills as you can along the way. I think that would be the best piece of advice.